or hey, going through the drive-through is killing you. So it's very refreshing to see the younger generation embarking upon this. It's not advice. They're like born with, or they're seeing that way is really not the right way.
But there's multiple different types of meats out there, animal products that one could eat, and they probably all have some different benefits, you know? I do know this, before we talk about the meats, is that when people don't eat meats, there's typically deficiencies such as vitamin B12. The DNA then responds by doing something to deal with it. And the body doesn't respond in a favorable manner when those proteins are being affected in a negative manner. So negative brings negativity, brings negative expression from our DNA. We need to really understand that. That's why people that really have
Let's go.
One of the favorite books I've read in my life was something about what I would say to the younger me. You know, I think as we talk about that, you know, what do I know now that I wish I would have known then? A lot of things that we can go back and look at this generation that we got coming up. But I tell you one thing we've got the younger generation is getting a better message of health and how to do it. And I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. It's actually very refreshing because as a provider of over 24 years, being on the course to professional athleticism, I've led a lifetime of healthy nutrition, knowing what it meant to my game and performance. Yet I've had a very hard time getting that across in clinical practice that, hey, that soda pop is killing you, or hey, overeating is killing you, or hey, going through the drive-through is killing you. So it's very refreshing to see the younger generation embarking upon this. It's not advice. They're like born with, or they're seeing that way is really not the right way.
Well, I don't know how you could miss it. You know, you go back, the generation before us, you know, they were pretty healthy for a while, and then they got sort of hoodwinked by or deceived by this food pyramid thing, you know, and then, of course, the whole world blew up, literally. I mean,
Yes.
we saw this obesity, this diabetes crisis, you know, hypertension, you know, heart disease, cancer just go out of nowhere. And our generation had to work through that and realize that the change was there. And then it's starting to see a little shift back from a government standpoint. But the younger generation that are looking at it right now are going, I don't want any part of that. You know, I don't want that because it didn't work. And so you got to admire them. You know, I think of like, well, Stevie's kids, Nick and Libby, you know, I look at them and I think, man, they're pretty smart because they eat healthy, they work out, and I enjoy them because
They're afraid to research what they're putting in the cart.
they're smart. They ask the questions, man. They're not like just trusting blindly what people say. And I think that's the key, man. You know, the greatest advice I would give somebody right today that's in the younger generation would be to ask questions, fully understand, and don't make a decision until you ask questions and fully understand.
There's a lot of things that people can do to really improve longevity. As I was reading in my reading time this last week, just reading about fiber, we know that fiber is food for the microbiome of the gut. And most foods are fiber void, and people don't know how many grams they need. Somewhere between 20 and 30 grams in a day is really the goal. Now, it's not just fiber that's feeding the microbiome. Fiber has actually been shown to lengthen the telomeres, which is like the hard hat on the end of the genetic material, if you will, and it prevents it from aging or degrading or degenerating. So relook at fiber and making sure you have enough fiber grams in your diet. Fiber comes mainly from plants, plant foods. The neat thing about plants is that plants contain both soluble and insoluble fiber, and we have to have both. If you get it over the counter, oftentimes in a supplement, oftentimes it contains just one of the two, plus it's got other additives in it that you have to be mindful about looking at your ingredients.
And one other thing that I think people can do is, is exercise or move. The only day you don't exercise is the day you're dead, and movement is life. Lack of movement is rigor mortis, so find something you like to do and do it. Just move, right? And I think that's a great thing that people can do today.
If the lack of movement is rigor mortis, then we've also got to stop that thing called dieting, because the first 3 letters in the word diet are DIE. And if we don't have a relationship with nutrition and don't understand how that actually fuels our system, I'm so overly concerned about it because of athletic performance. If it compromises my ability to, in today's day, at the age that I'm at, if I am not mindful about all of the things
29.
generated, not generated, you distracted me.
I know, 29. She's 29. But, the thing is, like, I appreciate the younger generation, kind of getting these advice things, because ultimately, this may sound a little weird, they're nonconformists. They don't just fit into the mold. They all have their own world they live in and their own viewpoint, and that's a good thing. So, I think people need to change and learn something. We can learn something from the generations that came before us, and we can learn from the generations that are coming after us. And so that's how we get better as a society. That's how we learn lessons. That's how we earn lessons, and that's how we sort of evolve in our culture. And so I think we're on a good path. So take all these lessons we talked about, you younger generation, and have a good time at it.
Carnivore is very popular. However, which meats are the best to consume?
And are meats enough? If you're suffering from fatigue, if you know you got toxic overload because you're bringing in stuff that's actually inflammatory and toxic, it is time to get some answers. It's time to turn things around. It's time to get your body in a place where it can function again, because toxic buildup can and does and will kill you.
Kingdom Detox and Kingdom Detox packets.
In those are the supporting nutrients, the supporting micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that support all the functions of a whole Kingdom Detox. It also has Kingdom Fuel with it, so you can do a whole 2-week detox process with the detox packs, or you can just take the detox packs. Either way is fine, but it's going to support that process.
So the body's completely nourished. It gets a little bit of rest because it's not having to over digest, so to speak, and it gets the right nutrients that support those phases.
So we got to get the toxins out and let your body function well again. That's why the Kingdom Detox process works.
I don't know about you, but I have to have that cup of coffee in the morning. And Kingdom Coffee is mold-free, it is pesticide-free, and it is organic. It's got this flavor that is delicious. You don't even have to put cream or sweetener in it.
And it's Kingdom Cup with a K,
K.
right? So this is important. 50% of all coffee at least contains mold. And this is a key thing. That's in bean form, right? So you're going to be a little grinder. They're just a few bucks. Grind it up, put it in your maker, and make it. Why did we go with the bean form, the whole bean? Because ultimately the powder form is the one that gathers the most moisture. And that means the more potential mold development. So this is actually organic, mold-free, certified. It's got a little certificate with it. That's important because ultimately people drink coffee. It's cultural. And so we tried to meet the culture where it is and create a healthy alternative.
Hey friends, you already know the answer to this, but we'll ask you anyway. If you stay away from your favorite junk food for a month and then go back to supersizing it, will your health improve?
Well, that's the thing about change. To change, we have to be as consistent as possible.
And when we go back to an old habit, it's not the end of the world. We just get back at the new habit.
Before you know it, real transformation is evident to you and others.
That's why we offer a bunch of helpful bonuses when you subscribe to Kingdom Fuel.
Kingdom Fuel is our complete nutritional meal shake.
It's the simple start to a transformed life, and we'll auto ship every month so you don't run out.
You'll receive 2 free shaker cups, free access to our video courses, and a monthly call with us filled with practical inspiration.
Just see the link below or on your screen and subscribe today.
Kingdom Candy with a K again. Two flavors. We got salted caramel and
Delicious.
peanut butter. These are great. I mean, they're
They're kind of like a complete meal.
yeah, they're 200 calories. People want to know that all the time, and not that we're worried about calories, but these things have great ingredients. They're not sweetened with sugars, and they don't have those false sugars or fake sugars, artificial
They've got
sugars.
fiber in them. It's really only 2 grams of sugar. I refer to it as the sweet
Huh.
without the cheat. In today's time, we are overrun with this concept of carnivore. Is carnivore good? Is carnivore bad? Well, today we just really want to talk to you about the cleanest and leanest types and cuts of meat.
Well, in a nutshell, we don't believe that meat is bad. In other words, we believe that people, if they choose to eat it, they should eat it, and it's probably going to provide health benefits. But there's multiple different types of meats out there, animal products that one could eat, and they probably all have some different benefits, you know. I do know this, before we talk about the meats, is that when people don't eat meats, there's typically deficiencies such as vitamin B12, iron, and even omega-3 fatty acids. I see that quite a bit. So we're not fans of the concept of veganism as a whole, but when people do eat meats, there's a couple key things you want to be aware of.
Yeah, in veganism, people have to be very diligent about food combining to make sure that
Oh,
they
yeah.
do get all the amino acids that are present in meats. And some of those meat sources, like some of the cleanest, leanest
Mm.
meats, is going to be your poultry, your chicken, your turkey,
Mm.
your duck per se. And to even keep it leaner, go with the breasts instead of the
Yep.
legs, and then pull the skin off.
Darker meat is typically more fat or has more saturated fat. Lighter meat has less saturated fat. Now, that doesn't mean that lighter meat has no saturated fat. For example, you may find a chicken breast, for example, white meat, might have 30% fat in it, saturated fat. Whereas you might find a chicken thigh might have 50% fat in it. So it's not about avoiding of saturated fat. We're just talking about being aware of it and making sure that we get plenty of saturated fat that's not too much. And different people sort of process it different too. That's a genetic discussion, but also there's monounsaturated fat in there as well, you know. So I think that matters. But when you're selecting those meat, general rule, white meat, less fat, dark meat, more fat.
Then there's pork. Pork has kind of gotten a bad rap
Mm.
back in the day. It used to carry this thing called trichinosis, and it
Mhm.
would get into the brain, and we would have brain disease as a result of eating pork. But pork is another very lean source of meat.
Yep.
And then there's your fish and your seafood. Now, I'm a huge fan of fish and seafood
Mm.
because that is one of the main places that we can find those omega-3 fatty acids, specifically in our wild caught salmon and our
Yep.
sardines and our tunas and the fish that contain really good fat omega-3s in them. Those omega-3s are very essential for cellular health, and our bodies don't have a good capacity to make them, so we have to get them from an outside source, and oftentimes getting them from plants like chia, hemp, and otherwise, it's just not quite enough to get that level up.
No, we've checked people with our blood tests for 15 years, and we've checked them in Alaska, Hawaii, Maine, and Florida. We've had people that have tested this lab in all those 4 states, all 4 corners of the United States, not just continental. And all of them have been deficient in the percentage of omega-3 fatty acids without supplementation. And I know full well they were eating plenty of fish because I asked them, right? So it's really understandably that we need these lean meats. I'm a fish fan too. I love fish, you know, and I think people probably worry too much about it having heavy metals in it. I get all that, but the body can detoxify efficiently. Another one that we miss kind of in there is trout. You know, wild caught trout, even farm raised trout have a good amount of omega-3s in them.
You used to fish for trout, didn't you?
I did. I like fishing. I think fishing's great, and I think hunting off the land's great. People don't take this wrong. Well, I like to hunt, and I like to eat the game off the land. I like venison. That's another good lean meat, and we probably have that once or twice a week at least, don't we?
That's right. That leads us into the discussion about lean cuts of meat.
Yep.
When we're talking about venison, we're talking about cows, we're talking about getting the leanest, cleanest type of meat. Oftentimes, meat sources are very full of antibiotics.
Yep.
They've been shoved antibiotics and they're full of hormones so that they can get them to market quicker and faster instead of, land grown animals like deer that you get for us every single year. Our freezer is full, and that is our main meat source. Next to chicken, fish, and poultry.
It is. And a lot of people say with hardcore carnivore, well, don't worry about where you get it. Don't worry about what cut. It doesn't matter. But we still think it matters. The leaner cuts, like the filet, for example, are going to have less fat because that's where the toxins are stored. So opt for leaner, cleaner cuts of all these meats, and you're probably going to have a great experience with that and in this idea of the meat selection.
How to build inner strength and how it makes a healthier you.
It makes a huge difference. We teach you how. Next.
Hey friends, you already know the answer to this, but we'll ask you anyway. If you stay away from your favorite junk food for a month and then go back to supersizing it, will your health improve?
Well, that's the thing about change. To change, we have to be as consistent as possible.
And when we go back to an old habit, it's not the end of the world. We just get back at the new habit.
Before you know it, real transformation is evident to you and others.
That's why we offer a bunch of helpful bonuses when you subscribe to Kingdom Fuel.
Kingdom Fuel is our complete nutritional meal shake.
It's the simple start to a transformed life, and we'll auto ship every month so you don't run out.
You'll receive 2 free shaker cups, free access to our video courses, and a monthly call with us filled with practical inspiration.
Just see the link below or on your screen and subscribe today.
Now we have it, Kingdom Crunch.
It's important to start breakfast off with a power-packed punch. You want a complete amino acid score, good protein. If you turn the label over and look at the back of the box, there is no added sugars in either one of these flavors, either peanut butter or acai bowl.
Peanut butter has 11 grams of high-quality protein. Acai bowl has 8. Peanut butter has 11 grams of carbohydrate, acai bowl 12, and both of them have a good solid fat content at 6 grams. Very filling, very healthy.
You will be fueling yourself with high quality fuel, starting off the day right. You can even use Kingdom Crunch as a snack in the middle of the day if you just have a craving and you want to eat something that is good for you, it has a crunch, and doesn't have a lot of calories.
There you go. Diabetic friendly, keto friendly, paleo friendly, Kingdom Crunch, and
Child friendly.
if you're suffering from fatigue, if you know you got toxic overload because you bring in stuff that's actually inflammatory and toxic, it is time to get some answers. It's time to turn things around. It's time to get your body in a place where it can function again, because toxic buildup can and does and will kill you.
Kingdom Detox and Kingdom Detox packets.
In those are the supporting nutrients, the supporting micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that support all the functions of a whole Kingdom Detox. It also has Kingdom Fuel with it, so you can do a whole 2-week detox process with the detox packs, or you can just take the detox packs. Either way is fine, but it's going to support that process.
So the body's completely nourished. It gets a little bit of rest because it's not having to over digest, so to speak, and it gets the right nutrients that support those phases.
So we got to get the toxins out and let your body function well again. And that's why the Kingdom Detox process works.
Let's talk about how to build inner strength and make a healthier you. Perhaps it comes from your view, your perspective, your perception of the world, and how you handle your mindset each and every day.
When I think of inner strength, I'm thinking the term resiliency. That's what comes to mind. They seem to be, and you know what I'm talking about, folks. You got people out there that seem to have so much strength, so much resiliency. Nothing shakes them. No matter what comes their way, they get knocked down. They keep getting back up. They keep coming back. They are the king or queens of comeback, and they just have a disposition and a demeanor that just keeps on going. And it's fascinating because they're very inspirational. I think inner strength does build inspiration for other people, but when you think about it, what is it inside of a person that they do or don't do that drives inner strength or maybe takes it away?
Well, I think there are several things that help build that inner confidence, and one of those is practicing positivity. We don't all wake up every single day and get out of bed and just feel positive. We have to focus on creating that mindset, creating the positive outlook. Is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? We know that from testing genetics, the way you think, what you say, how you say it, the tone of your voice, and even the environment with which you're in can have a direct effect on your confidence.
Well, it can, and there's a whole science behind this. At the cellular level, we have these sensor proteins that sort of sit on the edge of the cell, and they sense the outer world. And our body's full of trillions of these cells. But when we say something like, I'm not happy, I'm never going to achieve ABC, I'm always blah, 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 negative, negative, boom, 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 the cells sense that and they respond to that. And these proteins go inside and they communicate to our nucleus, which houses our DNA. The DNA then responds by doing something to deal with it. And the body doesn't respond in a favorable manner when those proteins are being affected in a negative manner. So negative brings negativity, brings negative expression from our DNA. We need to really understand that. That's why people that really have a sense of inner strength exhibited as they get sick less, right? They stay well longer. They have a better outlook on life. As a general rule, they're more positive.
Another concept I think is really important is that we focus on our strengths. Sometimes we just get focused on our weaknesses and we can resonate on how weak that is. And that will continue to tunnel you down into more weakness. So find your strengths. Maybe it's simply being able to communicate well with people. Maybe it's simply being able to be consistent with your exercise every single day. Maybe it's being able to be timely, being on time to work. If you start focusing on your strengths instead of where your weaknesses are, that will build your inner confidence.
This is one of my pet peeves right here with the idea of that concept that Dr. Michelle spoke about. In today's world, when you go to the doctor, we go there for one purpose, to find out what is wrong. And the whole visit, the whole interaction, the whole idea is to figure out what's wrong. We're not talking about what's right. We're talking about what's wrong. And every single time you go, it's what is wrong. You begin to get a diagnosis code which says what is wrong with you. A diagnosis code is like a label. It's like an ID card. Your name is no longer Tom. Your name is diabetic. Your name is no longer Nicholas. It's now hypertensive. That's who you are, and that's what you do. And this is your medication list. And God bless you to keep on going. You go back there. What is wrong? What is wrong? And that creates this whole negative vibe that never goes anywhere. Our whole system is broken. And from a spiritual perspective, I could say that who is it that really criticizes us all the time and point out what's wrong? That's our enemy. And who is it that tells what is right about us? That's God himself. And so we need to start thinking differently about that. And really, it's a difference probably with what goes on in our business and our interaction with people. I don't like to call it practice because we don't practice, we do, So we don't focus on what's wrong all the time. We focus on what's right. And it does build a strength in people that it's hard to explain. I mean, we see it all the time, but people experience it and they realize that, wow, I'm experiencing freedom. So probably freedom in itself, emotionally, physically, maybe spiritually speaking as well, is really the same as inner strength.
Yeah, oftentimes I find that getting people to stop the comparisons, or even I have to stop comparing myself to the person next to me that might be doing better, or be in a position that I would want to see myself in. If we stop the competition and comparison, it frees us up to actually own our own power, step into our own personal possibilities and potentials. But if we're constantly comparing ourselves to another person, we're going to be spiraling down that deep, dark hole again, instead of focusing on who we are, what our purpose is, where we're going, where we're headed, and being empowered by those things.
I like how you said that, kind of that idea of the comparison trap. That holds people back. So, folks, here's the thing. When you start talking about the idea of inner strength, you got to think about what motivates you, how to become the best you can be, regardless of what anybody else does. Because when you become the best you can be, you're able to celebrate other people's victories. You're able to love other people fully without having to run it through this critique filter all the time. Are we perfect? No. But are we working every day with a spirit of excellence and maybe meet perfection occasionally along the way? Yes. Those are the secrets of inner strength. I encourage you to listen to this segment over and over again and get that thing in your life, your heart, and your mind, and you'll see the difference and experience the difference. Kingdom Candy with a K again. 2 flavors. We got salted caramel and peanut butter. These are great. I mean, they're
kind of like a complete meal.
Yeah, they're 200 calories. People want to know that all the time, and not that we're worried about calories, but these things have great ingredients. They're not sweetened with sugars, and they don't have those false sugars or fake sugars, artificial
They've
sugars.
got fiber in them.
They do. It's interesting. Salted caramel crunch is our newest flavor. We'll come up with some other stuff at some point, but those can bridge the gap of that sweet tooth craving. They're sweetened with monk fruit. That's really, if you know what that is, it's not going to raise blood sugar.
It's really only 2 grams of sugar. I refer to it as the sweet without the cheat.
Any of these things out here are designed to be money-saving, nutrition-giving, and life-enhancing. And this is a big deal. So you'll find out, like thousands of other people did, that these things will help you live healthy longer.
Can a shake transform your life?
If it helps you invest in your health on a daily basis, the answer is
Yes!
Kingdom Fuel is our complete nutritional meal shake.
It's the simple start to a transformed life.
We'll auto-ship every month so you don't run out.
You'll receive 2 free shaker cups, free access to our video courses, and a monthly call with us filled with practical inspiration.
Just see the link below or on your screen and subscribe today.
Exploring biohacking, bioharmonizing, biosynergizing, stacking, resilience, or anti-fragility.
Start here. No gimmicks, just proven results.
Let's go.